Hey, it's Chris here, and we are reviewing Fable Heroes, not to be confused with Fable Journey, the Kinect game due in September, which, remember, is absolutely not on rails. No, today we're talking Fable Heroes, a hack and slash spin-off available on the Xbox Live Arcade. The development for this downloadable game began on a creative day that Lionhead Studios apparently holds each year, and the project was chosen from a number of others to be fully developed and released via XBLA. Unfortunately, Fable Heroes has some very uncreative combat, which really holds the game back despite a number of positives. We'll moan about that in a second. Fable Heroes is a side-scrolling hack and slash featuring heroes and villains from the Fable world in doll form. It supports 4-player co-op, either online, local, or a combination of both. It's got great music, a cute art style that complements what the game is trying to do, and if you're a Fable fan, there's lots of familiar faces and locations to enjoy. But, and unfortunately this is a rather big but, the combat is far too simple and feels very repetitive. Each character can use a light attack or a flourish attack to damage enemies and can roll to avoid being damaged themselves. There's also an area attack which, although powerful against large packs of smaller enemies, costs health to use in the first place. Unfortunately, it turns out that the most effective strategy, and the one used by most players that I encountered, is to just continuously mash light attack until everything is dead and you can continue onwards. I never really saw the need to use Flourish, as with most characters it's a very slow attack and the enemies will either have moved or have died by the time that you've used it. I played a couple of levels with one of my flatmates who's never really played the Fable series before, and after a few minutes he was controlling his character with one hand on the controller while stifling yawns with the other. Not a great sign. There's also an element of competition between the players, as each enemy defeated drops gold coins which can be collected to improve your score as well as purchase upgrades. This can lead to some players scooping up all the coins whilst their companions are doing all the work, and this is particularly noticeable when controlling range characters, who often miss out on the coins as the melee based characters are closer and can reap the rewards. At the end of each level you can spend your coins as part of a mini board game, and I kinda liked how that was set up. You can improve things like damage, the amount of gold you receive, as well as unlock new characters from the franchise. And you will have to rely on luck to an extent, as you can only buy things from tiles that you land on. This works well in multiplayer when everyone is rolling together, but not so well for the single player, as you have to roll individually for each of the 4 characters. Although Fable Heroes isn't designed as a single player game anyway. The level selection screen is also set up like a board game, and it looks really good. The art style throughout this game works very well and suits a Fable spin-off perfectly. I just wish that spin-off was worth playing in the first place. Overall, Fable Heroes is a very short game, and there's only a handful of levels to play through, although each of them does offer 2 separate endings, which will come down to either a boss fight or a minigame. The minigame is usually the better choice, as it involves racing minecarts or kicking chickens, instead of a boss fight that will always involve spamming X to attack the boss, killing its minions, spamming X to attack the boss, killing its minions, before spamming X to attack the boss and killing its minions. Once you have completed the game, which probably won't take you more than a couple of hours, you can play through it again in dark mode, which changes the art style and makes the game a bit more challenging. But it comes down to exactly the same gameplay in very similar levels. My favourite part of the game is probably the credits level, because it shows that developers did have some fun and quirky ideas, and it also signals the end of the game. I'm not going to recommend Fable Heroes, not even to Fable fans unfortunately. It does look and sound great, but under the surface it's a dull game. I give it 2 out of 5 stars. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be back later this week with the much more entertaining Awesome Nauts.